Good evening. Sorry about the wait.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
Leeds are shit.
We're recording, you know.
Oh, shit.
We had a good start. I don't think we've got the personnel.
You can fucking laugh all you want, you absolute bellend.
I think about things. That's why you lot are idiots.
A melted version of a dick that's been shrink wrapped.
The absolute elite shithousery of this.
Welcome to the professional podcast that is... Oh, Christ. It's off to a cracking start. That is the Ought to Know Better podcast. Good evening. I'm Smarty. I'm your host, and I'm incredibly late. I do apologise. I'm joined this evening by the bald and the beautiful Mr. Ramskill.
Lovely to be with you.
Are you all right? Are you all right, mate? It's a nice little hat you've got there. Is it yours or is it Gail's?
Thank you very much. It is mine. I bought another one because they're only £10 and you get them at Peacock in the bright yellow and the great.
Yeah, I did buy one.
I forgot one and I just bought another one.
Sound. The Ponytail Prince, how are you this fine eve, Jay?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. You know, positive and...
You still got it?
Really good.
Of course he has.
Oh, no, it's still there.
Still
Of course
got
he
it.
is.
I'll always have it.
You won't. You won't. Me and Bryn are hell bent on getting some scissors to next door match. get a little snip. Good evening, everyone.
In the Christmas do.
Yeah,
I'll kill you.
Imagine.
I'll absolutely kill
He'll turn
you.
up with one of them bloody them blazers from 80s all rolled up. You know, sleeves rolled up with his little ponytail
Like
in.
Miami Vice.
Yeah. With
Here
shit
comes
shirt.
Terry
bloody-
Silver.
Yeah. Well, that'll be good. Hello, everyone else in the
Man,
comments.
yes,
Get your interactions going. We'll get some stuff up on here tonight. Apologies for the wait. I think Carl has spread his virus quite clearly, and my laptop had completely shut itself. Completely.
I mean, there's no vaccine for it, is there?
There isn't. You can't. There's no vaccine. There's no colander. There's no little tin hat that's going to protect me from that. I think we may as well kick off with the predictions, hadn't we? Have you got the predictions league handy there?
We can, and I do. I haven't uploaded it, but
Can you
we
talk
do.
about it?
Yeah.
Ought to know better predictions.
At him.
The thing that really pissed me off. The thing that really pissed me off is I were in line for 3 points and very few people were getting anything. And then Perot went and fucked it all up at 95th minute, screwed me out of 2 points, but then gave a bunch of people 5 points. So there were loads of people. So Luke got himself 5 points. Fans got themselves 3 points. We got Lee Fryer went 2-0. Andrea went 2-0. Not Another Leeds podcast. Kev went 2-0. Joe went 2-0, and now he's streaking it. He's done really well. So Joe is now joint top with Joe. I've gone from top to 7th. Of which I'm fuming. Not Another League podcast. Danny is rock bottom, so it's not all bad. You know, at least Danny's bottom at league. But yeah, I started off like an house on fire, and it's all gone a little bit Pete Tong, I'm afraid.
It's funny how it happens, isn't it? I was down there right at the bottom, and well, I don't know where I am now. Obviously, things have changed, but I'm not at the bottom anymore, and that's all that matters.
Well, due to a little bit of speedy finger work. Here we go.
Ooh.
There's the table.
Fast fingers.
So you're almost mid-table now. You're not
Pretty
far
much,
off.
I am in the good spots.
I've
If
this were the
Diesel
Premier
started
League,
late,
if this were the Premier League and our Leeds, I'd be relatively happy with that.
yeah.
Relatively. Obviously not.
But yeah, even
Championship.
Luke's above me, which is a bit shit given where I was. I was 2 points clear 3 matches ago. So,
But 5 points, someone getting 5 points completely changes this again, though, doesn't it?
yeah.
So
Yeah.
all still to play for.
It is.
Right. So QPR. I believe you were on the Baradi and Coke with our good laptop friend, Mr. Carl.
I was indeed.
So I won't come to you initially. Jay, did you enjoy the game, and what are your thoughts? Try to be enthusiastic.
I didn't really enjoy it that much, to be honest with you. It bored me to tears for the most part, but I was very happy to see us get the job done, and we were completely untroubled. So I wanted
Why
a
were
bit
you
more
bored to
excitement.
tears?
I wanted a bit more
What was
excitement.
boring about it? More excitement.
It just seemed so relaxed and laid back. It were too patient. There were too much sort of caution, too much passing around at the back and just going slowly and not really sort of pressing forward as much as I would have liked. But Farker often plays it safe after a bad result, so I fully expected it. But we got the 3 points, like I say, so I'm not going to be too unhappy. Do you know what I mean? I'm well happy that we won again and we didn't have sort of 2 defeats in a row or a defeat and a draw. I'm pleased that we got 3 points. I just wanted to see a bit more from us. That's all. We could have done some real damage to a side like that had we really tried to.
Yeah, but we're always going to struggle with sides like that, are we? That come here and just literally put 5 or 6 at the back straight away and just allow themselves to sit behind a wall of players. You know, that's basically what it comes down to, innit? And, you know, that's why our passing stats are so good. That's why the possession's so good, because we don't want to give them the ball because we don't want to get countered on. Which is something I've said, you know, is it worth a try? You know, give them more possession.
We do that, don't we, against attacking teams?
Yeah, but that's because they're attacking us. That's because they're pressing us. You look at teams like Watford who, you know, took the game to us in the second half when we played them at home, and they actually attacked us. They pressed us. They give us a bit of bother. Obviously, the you know, it was a shit goal to concede, but they did press us and it did work to a degree for a period of time. But Gilly, is it a blueprint? I mean, obviously QPR weren't successful in how they approached the game, but is it a blueprint how to win Leeds, to beat Leeds? It's a game of football is to sit back as they do and defend so deeply.
Sides that are going to come and try and play expansive football against us are going to get picked off. And I think the sides know that. I think you're in very, very dangerous waters when you're talking about gifting opposition the possession so that we can then try and break on them, because that's very, very close to marsh ball, I'm afraid. I know that it's without the penis formation, so having as little possession as possible and combined with the penis formation is marsh ball. So, but it is boring. But at the same time, how many times have we said goals win games and defences win leagues? Yeah. You keep clean sheets and you stop people having any shots on target against Melier and you don't concede goals.
People have been calling Ellen Road a fortress.
Yes, I do like that. I do it. I've
it's
seen
not
it
bad.
referred to a few times. It was somebody rang into Radio Leeds, I think, and said it there. I do like it, and it is very accurate. Oh, 100%. Danny, you are spot on. I am a sore loser.
I think this is going back to the predictions league. I'm guessing
It is. No, I am a sore loser. I like to win. Fuck it, I don't mind saying that. I like to win. I enjoy winning.
Yeah. I mean,
not wrong with
I've heard a lot of flack against the atmospheres again. I mean, it's been well talked about in the stadium as well, which I suppose you just quietly acknowledge that the stadium and the atmosphere is a bit quiet and it's a bit, you know, subdued, etc. But more and more people are actually saying, "God, this atmosphere is shit." I mean, I know we've talked it to death, perhaps, but that were a 3:00 kickoff. I think a lot of the other times we've blamed it on, you know, early kickoffs or, you know, maybe through the week or Sunday evenings and so. That were a prime time kickoff on Saturday, and the atmosphere was absolutely wank right up into the second half. You know, you start to get going a little bit in the second half, but what do you think it is? I mean, I don't. Obviously, you discussed with Carl a little bit that you know it's all right in the cheese wedge and stuff, and in pockets it's all right where I stand in the south stand. But what do you guys think it is? Is it because it's just an air of expectancy for us to do well and absolutely trounce some teams, or is it just what is it? What do you think it is, Jay? What's your thoughts?
I think there's an element of expectancy. People get absolutely ratty if we're not winning a game. Like, people go there now watching us, expecting us to beat most teams. So if we're not doing that, people are getting moody. They're getting arsey. They can't be bothered. You know. You do have to be a bit more patient than that. You can't go in with that sort of attitude. But yeah, I think it's a combination of that, and it's also a bit of maybe a hangover from last season. People are still a bit fed up about still being here. You've got a lot of these people that really dislike Farker for whatever reason, so they don't really want to get into it because they're already there with a predisposed bad mood. You know what I mean? Because they're off to watch Farker's team. There is that as well, which I think is crazy, but each to their own. It's just a combination of factors. It's just various little things. It's just little things that are built up all together at the moment, I think.
Do you think we're still suffering from a post-hangover of Premier League relegation? Do you think that's anything to do with it?
Big time. And the thing is, we still do it now. It's like you turn around during the game and you're like, oh, Bielsa wouldn't have done that. You'll hear it at least once in a match day talking to people. Somebody will mention him. It's like we've got this memory that we're clinging to of what the good times were, and this isn't quite up there with that. So people are still pissed off about that, I suppose. People still miss it. People still feel that we should have that because we're Leeds United and all the rest of it.
I mean, there's a lot to say about the playing style. Obviously, you know, what people say that it's boring football, and you know, I'd rather play more swashbuckling football that got us up in the first hand under Bielsa. Gilly, if you could pick, you know, I don't know, if you were to play in the Bielsa style and get playoffs, or if you were to play in this sort of fark ball, boring style and get autos, which would you go for?
This season, right now, fark ball.
You would, wouldn't you?
It's just far too important that we get promoted this season. You know, you've got to consider the parachute payments and the context around the club, and the fact that it feels like, rightly or wrongly, we've brought the devil into our house. Rightly or wrongly, there's going to be a shitload of money that comes out of that on promotion. 49ers will be able to put more money in because the revenues will be higher, so the comparative percentages will change. It sets us up for success, and it feels like if we don't go up this time, that will be off the road, you know, and so I think if you scale back slightly to the conversation that Carl and I had, and just add a couple of bits in, you know, Aronson's playing for us. There's no jeopardy. Shit away support always has an impact, and you know they only sold 45% of their tickets. They returned a lot of the tickets. The fact that it's not Bielsa is still a factor. He's still in our minds. The playing style that we had is still there, and it's going to be for a little bit yet. It's efficient, but that's not exciting. Gail and I spoke about Harry Kane quite a few times when he was playing for England, when he was playing for Spurs, about the sheer volume of goals he gets and assists that he got when he was playing with Son and Kulusevski and whoever else. You want an exciting football. You weren't excited when he was playing for England and he got ball and he was 30 yards out. Even though he's efficient, he's not an exciting footballer. This is efficient football, but it's not exciting football. The ticketing changes that we touched on the B&C, I think, is an important aspect, because if you've got day trippers, and it's all money into the club, don't get me wrong, but if you've got people that are very, very rarely there and that are there to listen to the chants instead of getting involved, but they're mixed into those areas, and I absolutely abhor and reject 100% the principle of a singing section or any of that bullshit. You can shove your drums and your trumpets up your ass. But we've got certain areas that are vocal and certain areas that are not. The West Stand and the East Stand are dead. They're just dead. There's nothing. The Cop is on its last legs. You know, if the South Stand's not making noise and the Cheese isn't making noise, there is no noise. Yeah. That's all there is to it. And if you dilute what you've got in those areas, you're not going to have as good an atmosphere. So I think the ticketing changes and the way that the board have gone around resale of tickets and that sort of thing, I think even if you just take it down to a season ticket holder giving their mate a ticket, well, their mate, that season ticket, there's a point of pride, I think, in a season ticket holder, and them not wanting somebody that's not going to get involved or whatever else. You know, they're there actually as a representative of that fan. That's the way I read it. I mean, I might have it completely wrong, but I genuinely feel if I'm there on somebody else's behalf, and I'm in South Stand or I'm in Cheese, I mean, I'm going to anyway, but I would feel compelled to actually make the noise that they would be making if they were there. But to even go one step further, there's no Rutter, there's no Raf, there's no Somerville. We don't even have Ramazani at the moment, and he's been our most exciting player when he's gotten the ball this season. We don't have somebody that's got that, without sounding sickly about it, that X factor bit.
Yeah.
No,
you're right.
I can get you what, I don't want to sit down at football.
I mean, that was a horrendous word to describe it with, but yes, I know exactly where you're coming from.
You want something, but we don't even have we've got people, this is no detraction from our midfield because I think they've done marvellous compared to what we could have reasonably expected from them. But we don't have somebody in the middle that's going to put in a Batty or put in a Berra or put in even a Calvin challenge and get everybody going in that regard. It's just
that's true.
It's quite safe. It's not exciting.
And we're going to come on to the way that, obviously the referees seem to let the tiniest of touches. It's so soft is football now. You don't see many challenges. I mean, we did see a fair challenge. One of their, I think it was Matteo Joseph or was it Aronson? I can't remember who absolutely got clattered. And you look at the way that obviously Byram got yellow carded in the first half, and you think, hold on a minute, he barely touched the guy, and yet our player gets absolutely majorly over the top tackled. Which, I've seen players being sent off for tackles like that, especially in Premier League, way over the top. But referees do not allow that sort of play. And I think it's just that I think we're losing a little bit of the old school, old style of football, even from the Championship. I mean, it's gone out of the Premier League. It's just fairy tales and rainbows in the frigging Premier League. You either skin someone, or if you get tackled, that's it. The referees and VAR slow it down so much. Gilly Vogie could do that, Gilly.
He could put in a big tackle and
he could do. He could do, but he'd probably get yellow carded. He'd probably get yellow carded. Because you look at the size. You look at the size of someone like Gilly Vogie and against someone like Ramazani or Somerville, and they're like literally. I mean, you couldn't get a bigger chuffing, difference in player, could you? Gilly Vogie's built like a brick shithouse, and frigging, your Somerville, your Ramazani, little small player.
Did you see him in Nanto?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's like a little chuffing spaghetti noodle next to him, innit? I've had players that, I mean, I'm a tall lad, I'm quite sizely, and I get small players coming in and putting a little bit on me because to them it's nothing. But if I were to do the same to them, I flatten them, and straight away it's a frigging card. So you have to be so careful as a bigger player, otherwise you probably end up just trampling over the poor sod. But I think it's when I think about it. So I can't remember which podcast it was. It might have been Don't Go to Bed Just Yet that we're listening to this week, and they were going back to the whole obviously the destination wasn't as good as the journey. When we went up the first time, and I think there is a lot of
Smarty.
Yeah, like me and Jay. Well, actually, Jay's quite stocky, to be fair to him.
Yeah, but I think it's this.
but I would, I could send him flying if I wanted to. Little cheeky elbow, he'd be gone.
We'll see.
Your legs won't be able to take
like
your
Joe
fucking
Bedford
speed,
as well. Snap him. I mean, we did. I might have joined in with the get some blood on your boots lead sort of.
Into them, get into them, fuck them up. That's what we sing, But you can't do. But I just think, I said it last season, and I'm going to say it again this season. We need to enjoy this football. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. It's a bit boring, etc., etc. But we need to enjoy this while we can, because when we get up to the Premier League, we will be the whipping boys, and we won't be anywhere near the top of the top of the tree again. And every single week, well, not every single week, hopefully, we will see losses, and we will not be enjoying ourselves. And and I think that there's kind of an anxiety about going back into the Premier League because we know how difficult it's going to be. We know how hard it's going to be as fans to watch your team getting beat every week. And some of the atmospheres, like the year that Bielsa got sacked, or the season that Bielsa got sacked, was some of the best atmospheres I've ever heard. Like genuinely, some of the best atmospheres because we were defiant, because we had something to be proud about. In the latter years, we certainly haven't. I mean, last year, Christ alive, we were absolutely one of the best teams. I'm going to come on to that question. I don't know if a few of you have seen the whole Joe and Joe argument on Twitter, on YouTube.
I've not watched it yet.
Quite funny. We'll get to that point in a little bit. I'm going to ask you guys the same question. But I think there's so many different contributing factors as to why it's a poor atmosphere. But 3:00 on a Saturday afternoon, for a shit atmosphere, there's no excuse. I mean, against a team that we should be battering as well, and we did win, beat convincingly as well. There's no excuses really. But like you say, infiltrated with tourists and all sorts of stuff. There's people just stood there with their arms folded. You can
on
see
that
them
note,
all over.
On that note, if and when they expand the wedge in the south stand, should they only put new season ticket holders in there?
I don't think they are, though, are they? Cop.
I don't think they are. That's why I'm just saying if and
no, they
when.
can't do. I don't think they ever will do.
It's because they're not getting permission to go over the road, are they?
The only way they'd be able to extend the Cop and the South Stand is by moving the pitch back to where it was, however many years ago.
Cop.
No, I mean, but they'd have to extend that. You'd have to move the pitch more towards the Cop. You'd have to pretty much bulldoze the whole stadium and move it away from Elland Road to make that stand bigger.
Do you mean the cheese in the Cop?
Yeah, the cheese in the South Stand. Yeah, cheese in the South Stand.
You said the Cop and the South, and I want getting what you
meant. Sorry, he said Cop last time, and I was what? They are extending the Cop and the West Stand, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean the Cop. I meant the South Stand. The cheese in the South Stand. They won't be able to extend that like Gilly says. But I don't want it to be extended because it's mine. And I like being in there with a few of my pals. What?
Is it because of the light that they can't go up from blocking the properties at the back?
No, it's because of where the road is. It's right up on the path, and then there's a little path, and then there's a road, isn't there? And you'd have to go all the way over it and have all of the planning permission to go over the road and put tunnels in, and also, I think the only other thing that I can think of that you could do is make it a much shallower incline, a much steeper incline. Sorry, you could get more seats in without it going back that far. And if you look at some of the South American stadiums, they are on a very steep incline. You could do that there and get more seats and not be too far away from pitch. But for me, I think it's a case of just modernise that bit and build out on the other bits.
Yeah. I just don't get why they can't put another tier above it and have it in the same footprint.
Anyway, we don't want them to touch
because of the way that cantilever it would have to go further back in order to be able to make it safe against the modern stadium designs.
Build up to the road then, and reroute the pavement under the ground so it goes through the back of the stand, and then you'd have that extra bit.
Get you sent into frigging Leeds, get on, council. Get some I've just brought me blueprints, lads. This is what I'm proposing.
Turn up with my crayons.
If you hadn't eaten them all. I think, for a long time the South and the cheese will be as it is, and good because it should be. The East ain't getting touched either, so it'll just be the West and the Cop. And to be fair, the West Stand is absolutely rancid, so it needs doing. Hopefully the away fans will be sat in there as well. I'm away
breathing
from
in the asbestos.
Absolutely. Take all the asbestos into your lungs. Right, so we've discussed a little bit about the performance, etc. Gilly, I don't know if you want to say your penethon and the actual game up against QPR. Do you want to touch on the referees? Because, like I've already said, he seemed to be letting a lot of really, really light stuff, like light contact and stuff. He was blowing up for all sorts of shit, and then just letting the game kind of run away from him. How do you think the referee were on
he was really picky, wasn't he? Byram's booking was a joke for me. I didn't think. I thought he was barely a foul, and then he blew up not too far away. In terms of timings, he was only 5-10 minutes later that he blew up for an absolute nothing challenge, and you're thinking, fucking hell, now he's blowing up for that, and you're thinking, Byram, having done very, very little wrong here, is now walking a tightrope of potentially getting a red card, and it was mind-boggling, really, because I didn't think he did anything wrong in terms of the card. In terms of his performance, I thought that really affected him. He played so far within himself that it was a poor performance, and I think when Bogle were out, he was actually my man of the match when he switched to the right and he played over there. He played really well, and this time, Bogle were my man of the match, just ahead of Willie Nonto. And Byram did have a comparatively poor game, but I think a lot of that did come from the referee and the fact that he'd in my eyes, unfairly booked him. Overall, like we've said, it were efficient. It were all right. The midfield, but they didn't have one. So our midfield was able to dominate without really having to work.
Because they extended their defence.
Well, yeah. So, you had penetrating runs from Rothwell, and you had... one thing I did like, because this has frustrated me for a while, is Rodon, when he picked up the ball, he's so quick that he can really make strides into midfield, and he's moved into there. As long as you've got somebody like Byram that's going to shuffle inside, and you don't have Bogle and Firpo, effectively playing as extra wingers, and Rodon going forward, and you've got one defender left, and Melier. As long as somebody's got the intelligence to go, right, Rodon, step forward, I'm going to anchor you, and I'm going to help out the defence. I like it when he steps out with the ball because he is quick.
There's a bit of Ben White about him as well, isn't there? With Rodon.
He's what? Sorry.
There's a bit of Ben White about him when he goes forward with
a little bit, yeah. But he's not cultured in quite the same way. He's not going to pick that pass in the way that Ben White did, and I don't know whether that's movement or whether that's oh shit, I've gone a bit far here, and he starts getting a nosebleed with it, and then he just panics a little bit. But
like at end of a dog lead, he knows he's getting to end of it. Oh shit, I'm running out of room. Better pass it on.
But no, I like him stepping out, and ultimately, all right, Pirot cost me in terms of the predictions league, but 2-0 on the face of it is a fair result, and like we've said, if you were going to trade what is effective but reasonably boring football for finishing 15th every season, you'd be mad. You'd be absolutely mad, wouldn't you? We're winning. You have to try to enjoy it. Exactly like you said, you've got to do your best to try and enjoy it because we're winning football games.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not winning every football game, but we certainly aren't losing every football game. And like you say, I think obviously winning is very, very important, but there's a lot to be said about drawing them as well. Drawing a lot of games will kill you in the championship because like you say, 5 points in the championship, especially at this stage, can move you half the table. It's crazy how close it can get at times. Speaking of performances, etc., were you happy with Joseph's performance in the first half?
Me?
Jay, do you want to take this one?
Jay, go.
I thought he did all right.
Do you think he deserved to come off?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like if you're going to give him game time, and give him proper chances to score and, get his confidence up and stuff. So I probably wouldn't have taken him off, but, it worked out in the end.
I think that would it Burnley when we were through in the first few minutes?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's affected him, mate. I think because he doesn't seem to look as good as he did in those sort of like opening games in the season. He was absolutely all over the place. He was hungry for ball. He was getting himself into some. He's kind of not. I wouldn't say a passenger because he is hustling and he is doing some really good work. Like you see him holding back defenders when obviously he's got the ball coming to him, etc. I like what he's doing. But I'm still quite happy for him to start and for Pirot because time after time after time, Pirot's coming off the bench and making a difference. So at the end of the day, it's a winning cocktail. Whenever Pirot seems to start, he seems to just completely go stagnant and we don't get anything from him. Then we seem to struggle, etc. But when Joseph starts, I don't think he's tiring the centre backs out at all because all they do is sit, a few yards in front of the 18-yard box, literally all game. So it's not like they're being run ragged, is it? But I don't know. I just think at the minute it seems to work, starting Joseph and bringing Pirot. I don't think your mate Aronson had a good game, or much of a good game, Gilly.
He was shy. To be fair, he was a little bit unlucky not to score, because that effort...
It was, because it was a good shot, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was a bit unlucky with that, but another poor game for me. I don't rate him. I don't want him playing football for us. And if we can get a 10 in the transfer window, I think that'll be a massive deal for us. That said, you can't knock him for his work rate and his endeavour. He's Steve Morrison without a finish.
You're right.
Jesus Christ. Scathing.
I dare say he's probably a much better player than Steve Morrison. I think we really are scraping the barrel with that one.
I was just referring to the fact that we used to call him the shift because he just worked hard.
Because he just, he made himself look like he was running. He looked like he was running through freaking porridge a lot of time, didn't he? But I've always liked. I haven't always liked Aronson, but this season I've tried to back him a lot because I've said he hustles. He seems to, he's very. I don't know. I think I use the word tenacious a lot for him. He's quite aggressive as well. Which right at the start of the season, I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" He's certainly one part of his game when he was in the Premier League, really aggressive, trying to tackle players, etc., and like I say, hustling, etc. But we're just not getting enough. And I think I saw a stat this week saying that he was the most dispossessed player in the league so far this season. Which you're going to be as a number 10. It's that role that you play. But, but
he's also only got one assist.
Yeah,
has to be
he's got a few
off.
Goals. He's got a few goals.
Yeah,
he's
got 4. So. But I think there has to be a trade-off if you're giving the ball away that much, because everybody said that. Well, Rutter gave the ball away loads. Yeah, but we're an assist machine. There has to be that trade-off. So I think from my perspective, just to touch on actually what you were saying about Joseph and Pirro, it's really strange, isn't it? Because Pirro's doing everything he can to show that he should be starting, but when he starts, we don't look as good. Now, I think a lot of that depends on our opponent. If we're going to have a lot of time and space, and they're going to come at us, then I think Pirro should be starting. And for everybody else, I think it should be Joseph, with Pirro coming on late on. And he got, it was 72 minutes, I think, that Farke made the change. Joseph got meaningful minutes in that game. Pirro came on for the last 20 and scored a goal. Don't change it. It's working. I saw something. It's working as it is.
No, you're absolutely right, and I think I said last week that I've always said, and you even said it on Berardi and Cook at the weekend. You said that obviously Smarty says don't ever change a winning side, and I agree you shouldn't do. However, this particular formation, this style of sometimes I don't agree with how Farke brings on the substitutions, and it seems to be the 70th minute all the time, but it seems to be working. Now, for me, if it means you're not changing a winning team and having Joseph start and bringing Pirro on, absolutely fine. But like you say, it just seems to be whenever Pirro starts, he just completely just like he's gone, I'll just tootle around a little bit. It's I'll just unhitch this caravan and just twiddle my thumbs over here a little bit. He's just so stagnant. I don't know what it is. And then second half, it's like he's got a point to prove. But I'm happy to keep it that way. So, Jay, what do you think of Solomon?
He looked a bit better to me. He looked a little bit better. He looked a bit more like he's getting back to himself, back to fitness maybe. Wasn't outstanding by any means, but nobody really was, in my opinion. Apart from maybe Bogle, who played really, really well. But yeah, good to see him. Yeah, happy with that. It looks like he's going to be a useful member of the squad. Everyone's been moaning about him, saying send him back. It's just, that's bollocks. You can't send a guy back who's been rushed back from fitness because other people were out and has looked a bit off it, because he's going to do, innit? You don't just get match fit instantly, especially if you've come back before you're 100%, which I think him and James both did.
I think, like you say, I think unfairly getting a bit of stick because, obviously, and before he got injured, I've said this for a few weeks now, I think he will put in some good performances. Maybe it's rocked his confidence slightly, who knows? We don't know what to degree he was injured, etc. He had a bit of back problem, went into his Achilles. We don't really know the extent of that injury. But he seems to be getting better. He's a tidy player. Bryn's actually made a decent point in here. And he says that Solomon would have been better with an overlapping fullback. Byram was useless. That's not part of Byram's game. He was obviously replacing a certain other player that, Saturday morning we found out had been banned for three days. What were your thoughts as soon as you found out Firpo had been banned for 3 days, Gilly?
I was fuming, absolutely fuming, and I was.
Yes.
So I was fuming because I was like, I don't even remember anything happening. What happened? And then I saw the video. I'm like, right, okay. Now I know that fucking nothing happened.
Yeah.
The way that I read that situation, and I had to watch it about 8 or 9 times before I could even pick up where the issue was. And then it cut to a different angle, and you could see even less. Is their player comes over to Firpo. He puts his head into Firpo's. Firpo puts his in as well. Don't get me wrong, he puts his in as well. But it's almost, when you see players that kind of put their foreheads together and kind of push each other. That's what he's done. And their lads just fucking crumbled.
Sucking him into it, didn't he?
Fucking sniped. And then it's not been seen. So he's run over to ref and he's gone, ref, my eyes hurting. What a little fucking knobhead. And playing for fucking Millwall, who was supposed to be a fucking hard club. And then what you find is their fans going, oh, fucking Leeds are diving bastards. Hang on a minute. I'm minute and bitter. 1, your lad just dived. 2, you now talk about Bamford diving in 2019, but your fucking Bradshaw dived against us in 2019, got Berardi sent off. The beaters in that game because Berardi had been sent off, and then it got overturned afterwards, but their player got away with diving. So they can fuck off. They can all get fucking bin, the bastards.
Yeah, fuck them.
Absolutely. Farker said he's obviously
Solomon would have been better with an overlapping fullback.
yeah, like Junior Firpo, who went out for another couple of games. But yeah, Firpo has been I don't know why he just seems to be shining in this league. You know, last season as well. And I've actually one of my shit takes is someone having a bit of a go at Firpo, but we'll leave that till the end of the show. Stay tuned for quality shit takes of the week. By the way, if none of you have tagged the show, the shit take of the week account, then do so quickly while we've got time to get them uploaded before we get into that part of the show. Because none of you, well, no, actually, I'm saying none. One or two have, actually. I apologise. One or two have. But there's plenty of shit takes out there, including us guys. You know, we talk absolute bollocks on Twitter.
Absolutely.
I can't wait for the day when one of our accounts gets tagged by shit take of the week.
Last thing on Solomon and the fitness. So I was surprised, to be honest, because I thought Dan James were playing fairly well. I didn't, and I'd not seen enough from Solomon to think that he were doing more when he were coming on than Dan James were offering. So I was a bit surprised, but equally, I think we had a conversation during the match, and if you remember when Calvin had been injured, when he came back, he was the same player he'd been right from the outset. And you have some players that just settle straight back into the position, and it was like they were never out the side. And you have other players that take a long time to get back up to speed again. And it just looks like Solomon's one of the latter. It just takes him a little bit of time to get back up to speed. Unfortunately for him, he's somebody that's got an injury issue. Over a long period, he's had lots of injuries. So he's going to have to find a way to get over that. Otherwise, he's not going to play much football over the rest of his career.
Yeah.
What this?
Go on.
Sorry, I'm going to say this Firpo thing. Unless you want to stay on this.
Yeah, you can. No, it's fine. I'm generally just talking about players at the minute. I want to get your thoughts on Schmidt as well after this, but I'll let you finish up on Solomon.
This Firpo thing, not the Solomon thing. Yeah, the thing that's most pissed me off with that is the timing of it. They know full well that we've trained all week and that we've prepared a game plan with Firpo. Yeah. So rather than announce this after the game, and he could still have his 3-game ban, that's cynical, is that? You can't tell me otherwise. You can't.
Well, I am going to tell you otherwise. I'm absolutely going to tell you otherwise.
Well,
because they got in touch with the club on Thursday morning. Thursday morning, they said, this is an issue, he's banned for 3 games. And the club appealed. And the appeal result was then what was found out later.
Okay.
I am telling you that.
It's still shit and I don't like
it. However, one thing I would say is usually it takes 3 weeks to turn around a decision like that. So why is it only 12 hours when it's fucking Leeds?
Cynical.
Because the EFL's corrupt.
There was somebody recently that it happened to, and it took weeks for them, like you say.
3 weeks?
Player one now. But yeah, it's cynical. It's done on purpose to derail us and to fuck us up.
The thing that it goes down to consistency, doesn't it? I mean, if it was the case where that sort of challenge or that sort of offence was, to be punished week in, week out, then fair enough. But it is only merely a few years ago when Chanos, however you said his name, for Brentford, literally laid one on the back of Alioski, and nothing came of it whatsoever. That was after, obviously, the coaches were keeping the ball in the dugout so he couldn't get to it as well. Absolute set of shithouses there.
And nothing were done.
Thomas Frank, they're keeping it under his foot, so he tries to get it, does Alioski, and then chuffing Chanos, the little shithouse, coming in, but his back. Nothing happened. However, we are Leeds United, and we are just here for punishments. I think they just like to make a frigging, a case out of us. I really do.
Yeah, I think
just an example to be made out of that.
I do find it amazing that he's playing for Valencia now. What's he done to deserve that? He was shit.
He went to Premier League with them, though, didn't he?
Yeah. He got himself sent off against us in Premier League.
Yeah.
That's when we stayed up by beating him. He scored a goal, and then he kicked the ball away. And he took his shirt off.
Second yellow.
And then kicked ball away almost like 2-3 minutes later and got himself sent. I mean, that's delicious. It really is. Because I hate that twat.
Absolute class, wasn't it? But Gilly, give me your thoughts on Schmidt. Do you think he's ready to go? I mean, obviously you can't really base much over 5-10 minutes, but it looked lively. It looks quite tidy as well, doesn't he?
He does. We haven't seen him at fullback,
no.
And there's a question mark there over why, and because it felt like we had an opportunity. So I reckon that Farke trusts Byram, and Byram's had a decent return. You know, like I say, when he came in for Bogle, he was man at match, and he played for Firpo before that and done no wrong. But on the left, as an overlapping player, because I think he is right-footed, isn't he? But he will overlap, and he does more at left back than I think Byram does. It's just we've seen him on the wing, and he looks lively, he looks rapid, which is always a benefit. But we've not seen much of him, and that gives you a question mark as to why. And I know that there's a couple of things where Farke said, did he pull his arse cheek or something? And then he had a twinge in his ankle or something. And it was almost like he were about to. Do you remember when Nketiah twisted his bollocks? And he were about to. And in fact,
does that every Friday.
I mentioned, just for a bit of fun. I mentioned on B&C actually. We had Nketiah twisted a testicle, and we had Jamal Blackman broke his leg, and they were both about to get a run in the team. Yeah. And it just happened at a bad point, and it might have happened for Schmidt as well. He looks well. He looks like he wants the ball. Positive. He looks rapid. Positive. He's not worried about playing it. He's not worried about receiving ball in tight areas. Great. That's what we want to see, because the shirt can be heavy and it can be a difficult start for people. And he doesn't seem fazed at all, even in front of a big crowd. So, the only question mark really is, why aren't we seeing him yet?
Some people have told us that they don't think he's training well, or he's still not up to speed with the English game. I say.
Yeah, but he's not going to be without playing, is he?
Exactly. And that brings me just round to Solomon and the internationals, etc. Solomon's obviously gone on international duty, as has Mr. Verber himself, who was reportedly this week been saying that he's a bit unhappy about not getting as many minutes as he would have liked.
He spent all season injured.
Fuck him.
Yeah.
He's lucky to be here getting a wage. The absolute turd.
He says that he's only got one eye on, obviously he's got his eye on Pascal's position as well. But he says he's happy with how everything's going at Leeds, but obviously he wants to get, he's basically, the only competition he's got is Pascal's stroke. So he's either waiting for him to get injured or obviously...
Shit out of luck then, isn't he?
Get a yellow or a fifth yellow or whatever. Some sort
and bear in mind he's wearing our armband at the moment. He's not getting dropped.
No, absolutely not. Thoughts on Solomon going away with Israel then?
Ill-advised.
Good thing? Is it? Well, I was going to say, is it a good thing or a bad thing for you too?
He'll get minutes, so that it'll lend itself to some of that getting back up to match sharpness, I suppose. But I think all of our squad is what it is at the moment, and we're carrying still injuries. That every single player actually is critical in terms of having them available. So although it'll get him minutes, the risk is he gets injured. We don't get him back. So there is a balance. I think given that he got through 72 whatever minutes, he's just about back, and it's extra minutes for him. So I don't see it being a huge concern. And I think it's less like it was with Sheffield United. If you remember, a lot of them played on the Tuesday, and then we had to play Sheffield United on the Friday. And I think there's a bit more of a gap this time, so it's not too bad.
We always seem to suffer more playing straight after the international break as well. I'm very much of the same opinion about getting minutes into these players, especially the ones that have obviously been struggling with injuries, etc. Yes, there is a risk that obviously they could get injured more or further or again, but yeah, I think it's only a positive for me. Sometimes I'm worried. Look at things positively, aren't you?
I'm worried. I'm worried about the possibility of injury, but the positive is obviously the minutes will do him good, provided he gets through it okay.
Yeah, I think so. Today we've been...
They're not playing complete cloggers, are they? I think Israel...
No.
Is it France and Italy?
I couldn't tell you.
At least they're not playing Iran.
No, Belgium. France and Belgium they're playing against. So, it's not... Well, yeah. It's not like they're going to be playing against... so just some massive Eastern European cloggers that are going to kick shit out of any wingers that come near them. They play an actual football side. So the hope there is he'll be all right.
Yeah, Blaze Ray says hopefully Solomon doesn't pull an ass cheek or twist his bollocks.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. That sounds like a good time, if I'm honest. So, internationals then, they're a bit shit, aren't they? But, hopefully we'll come back firing.
They are. But here's a graph for you based on not based on, but it's midfielders. But it's very, very interesting to see one of our internationals and where they sit on this.
Oh, Christ,
I don't know if
alive.
you've seen this graph, but this is Championship
I don't think
midfield.
many people can see that graph, mate. Go on, carry on.
So what we've got is bottom. So it's shaped in quadrants. Bottom left is the not progressive and the not defensively active. Top left is progressive midfielders. Bottom right is ball winners of their team. And top right is ball winning and progressive midfielders. And Tanaka is just way out there on his own. And the closest to him is Gruev.
All right, yeah, of course, yeah. There he is.
So, yeah,
Very
so you
good.
might have to zoom in, but we'll share it on our socials. And in fact, I might have already. But yeah, it just made interesting reading. And I don't know if you can see it, but right, almost dead centre, just slightly left of centre is also Rothwell, who's very progressive. So you can see there that our three midfielders that have played the most minutes, Ampadu's in there as a ball-winning player that can play a little bit, but it shows that there's no one getting near our midfield there.
See that ex-Leeds legend Matt Grimes is not too far away from Rothwell.
I noticed him.
And Mowatt's just to his right, but
Yeah.
But the one that really made me laugh when I saw where our blaster is, who's supposedly the best midfielder in the league, and he's one of the least progressive and is not winning much.
Herbert says international footy is 90% dross. Is absolutely correct. 100%.
Yeah.
Ao Tanaka.
all international friendlies, including that bullshit that Gaz thinks is good because
international leagues or whatever it is. Pie and Pea League.
100% of that is bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. Ao Tanaka then, the Legion. Well, I think is it Player of the Month? He just won literally 20 minutes ago. I think the main account Leeds United. He's the Leeds United Player of the Month. Congratulations, you little legend. He's a great player, though, isn't he? £3 million, man.
Yeah, he's ace, isn't he?
3 million bloody quid.
Promotion or kiss goodbye to him anyway. He'll be next big sale.
Oh, such a positive soul, Jay. Fucking hell. Love to be your bloody wear your shoes for a day.
I'm not wrong,
Fucking
though.
hell. It's too sunny. Can't wait
not
for
wrong,
clouds to come back.
This is why we're all nervous as fuck. Because
Hey, hang on a minute. Don't be saying
that.
that. It does get too sunny.
All right, fucking hell. Bloody menopause over there. It's too hot. We've had some fixture changes.
Of course.
Oh God, yeah.
Who doesn't
Almost
love a
everything's
Monday
Friday
night?
innit?
Who doesn't love a Monday night fixture? So Leeds United versus Sheffield United has been moved to Sunday at 12. Whoop-de-doo. Burnley versus Leeds away Monday the 27th of January. Leeds United versus Sunderland Monday the 17th of January. Sheffield United versus Leeds United Monday the 24th. What an absolute shower of shite. Shit.
Balls, innit? It's
Absolutely
absolute
shite.
balls.
What a load of bollocks.
They're just taking the piss with us.
Honestly, I hate it. I genuinely friggin' hate it. And it don't get any better when you're in bloody Premier League either, so fucking make of it what you will. Have you got any shit weeks of the take?
Shit weeks. Oh,
Shit weeks of the take. Little
Shit
fart
week.
sparrow.
Shit. Look back, it's better.
Hey, oh, has got a shit tick this week, my little sparrow fact.
The little farting sparrows are everywhere. Who wants to go first then? Who's actually submitted a shit take?
I've just
Did you put
uploaded
them in?
the one you asked for, mate. Just uploaded
Just
the one.
it's just that one. Just mine.
There's a couple. There's Gilly's ones and your one.
Go on then, Gilly. We'll let you go first then. I don't know
I'll
why
add
we
to
put that in the
stage first.
brandage.
I'll bring up this one that's
Go on then.
green share
Go
one.
on then. We shall discuss. I'll let you take it away. Christ on a bike.
There you
I
go,
can't see
Gilly.
that either.
Paying attention, mate.
You want
Go
me
on,
to
Gilly,
talk
take it
about it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's your shit take.
Yeah. So yeah, no. This is. I've already had a bit of a rant about this, to be honest, because I didn't remember putting this in.
We'll give it. Summarize it for us then.
Yeah, basically. So I was dealing with a Millwall fan, and
Fucking Millwall.
Fucking hell. And he were complaining about Leeds diving, and I'm like, hang on a minute, your player's just dived. And then I said, so a Millwall player would never do that. He went, no. I'm just saying you can't criticise because your players do it. I'm like, yeah, 2019, mate. And then I pointed out that in 2019, a Millwall player dived against us. And then he said, he started going off about me being confused, and I kind of ran a few rings around him. But yeah, ultimately it was a case of pointing out that he's complaining that Leeds players dive when their player dived against us in the season that he were talking about, and in the last game as well. So he can get it fucking see, can't he?
Absolutely, totally acceptable.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you're
I think I had another one, Gillies, as well.
Another one?
Yeah, but you'll have to give me a second.
Okay, I can do that. I can bring mine up while we are. I think it's this one.
Ready.
I think it's this one. My shit take of the week, crying out loud. I can't bloody see that either. Let me try and read it out. Junior Firpo banned for 3 matches starting with today's game, blah, 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 blah. Bethany Stone says, at least he's not on the pitch for 3 games, open hands clappage. I think that's like a prayer. Some sort of prayer hands, I'm not sure. At least Junior Firpo's not on the pitch for 3 games. Lord Bradley, one of our mutuals, has said very poor take. Didn't think to tag the pod in though, bless him.
Didn't.
Bethany Stern replied, I'm just going to digress slightly. I've actually had a look at this after my slight exchange of tagging shit take of the week, and I'm pretty certain it's one of them absolute virgin dickheads on Twitter that's just opened a female account. It stinks. Absolutely stinks of it. No, not one of them. Just some absolute beg that's trying to get some interaction with some people. Just 'cause he's got, I know. She went further to say he's so overrated. He really doesn't bring much. We have better players and that have been sat on the bench. So I tagged in shit take of the week. So, firstly, apparently Junior Firpo's shit, and she's glad that he's away for 3 games. And that we have better players on the bench. What are your thoughts about that, then, gentlemen?
Well, the only one that can be is Schmidt, isn't it? Who else could that be?
Well, I've no idea. Honestly,
you can't declare that there's someone better on the bench when we've not seen any of them play this season, really.
Well, yeah, it strikes me as being a little bit odd and fishing for attention, which we may have inadvertently given them.
Why would you take the assist machine out of the side and be?
I think right. You should be declared mentally fit to have a social media account, especially on something like Twitter, by the medical.
Well, it's never going to happen, is it? Because look who owns it.
I was going to say the same thing. It's run by a Karen. Definitely not mentally
Space Karen.
Jesus
wow,
Christ.
I like it.
I've remembered the other shit take. It's the one that was deleted, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah, but we didn't know. Have you got it?
I've got it.
Go on then, crack on.
Already doing it.
Yeah, so it's they've deactivated the account. It's an account that no longer exists. But so that's my quote tweet. So basically, I said, "Is this what it's come to? Cheese rooms, and you're not allowed to shout or swear anymore." This is not Leeds related. It was a Spurs fan that was saying that they'd had to leave the game at half time because there was somebody that was near them that was shouting a lot, and they even swore. Now, they say the one word that we don't say on here, but it starts with a C and ends with a T, and it's next Tuesday.
We should say it more.
But it ruins the algorithms, as the kids would point out. But yeah, I mean that is just a real shit take. And I've only just noticed that you have actually flashed up that word because my girlfriend responded with it in the comments.
I didn't know it were there until we did this, so we just had to read it out.
But yeah, I mean, it is. Where else do you get to be raucous and raw in the way that you can in a football stadium? Don't fucking take that away as well. If you don't like it, don't go. Exactly. You're the reason our atmospheres are all shit and diluted, and you're the bastards that are using cheese rooms and fuck on those else. Fucking art galleries in your stadiums and.
I want to stand in the
all that stuff.
Fucking Victoria
all that shit's already started though. It started in cheese wedge and bloody East Stand with the fucking bloody loaded fries and all that stuff. We still had a frigging smash pie against the wall until last season in South Stand. There's people throwing up over each other and frigging all sorts of stuff in concourse in South Stand. And
that were a resident of a bygone time.
There's people passing frigging loaded fries from one stand to another. What the fuck's going on?
We've been gentrified, Smarty.
She's pasty, son. Like, Jesus Christ. What is going on?
We've been gentrified.
Bring back meal deal number 1. Bloody
Bring
hell.
back the pie tax.
Exactly, the pie tax, of course. Have you ever seen anyone get pied at the side of the field? I once saw a pucker pie fly gracefully
I
through
haven't
the air.
actually.
Yeah, it missed by an absolute mile, but it was still funny.
That's a
I
shame.
suppose seeing a pucker pie flying at Mach 3 is supposed to be, it's better than seeing a vape getting hurled
I tell you
around or
what.
some coins.
If you launched a pie off the ones that we get Elland Road that are rock hard when you get them, if you launched one of them off the top of that stand at Newcastle, you'd kill someone.
You would generally kill it. It'd be like dropping a 2 pence off a bloody Empire State Building or something.
I think one of our regular watchers got banned for throwing a vape.
The bake. Oh yeah, he did. I think I know you're man about. Yeah, but they're like fucking. They were baked in friggin' Chernobyl. They're like bloody coal. Some of them. Fucking. How about you, bastard?
We've got new ones now. We've got Pie Minister, and now we're talking about.
Yeah.
I actually had one just for the first time this weekend, and it were actually all right, but it were really weird because it's in like a box, and you pull the top off, and you're supposed to like eat it out of the box, and it's like an oblong pie rather than a round pie. It's pretty cool actually, but it was still a bit hard round sides.
They're almost like shaped like a McDonald's apple pie, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like oblong rather than.
It's pretty
round
cool.
or
You still
round.
take it out of a box though, eat it.
Yeah.
Sounds like shite.
and it's still like it's been cooked in Chernobyl when you buy it.
Like Nige says, pies like ice pucks. It's pucks, not pucks, but it's fine. I know exactly what you're on about, Nige. Don't worry, old cock. I've got you.
We've got you.
You can stick your Chernobyl burgers and your friggin' Chernobyl pies up your hoop. We don't care. But
I genuinely used to like the old chicken balti. You just had to have
I
it.
did, yeah.
You just had to have it before kick-off because otherwise it sat under heat lamps for an hour and a half, and then
That's right.
you couldn't bite into it. But I actually quite liked them if I got in there early enough.
They were all right. The best thing was when you got a burger. There was no cheeseburgers left, so all you could get was a burger, and it would dry as balls. It'd been there for ages, and you say, "Is there any ketchup?" And they say, "Oh, it's run out." And you just
your balls quite dry.
I fucking paid for it now.
Do you talc your balls, Joe?
I don't need to, mate. They look after themselves.
What, they're self-talking, are they? Or they're just that old and dusty that
Just
they
don't,
don't need
just don't get that sweaty, mate. They're all right.
I've got dusty bollocks, I don't need talc, thanks.
He's coming dusty, just rubs it in. Is that what he's?
Oh,
Jesus
jeez.
Christ. Absolutely.
Stop
not.
with your smut. Stop with
move
your
on.
smut.
You
You
started.
filthy- You filthy animals. Absolute can't speak. Right, I've got a question for you both. I don't care who goes first, but this is off the back of Joe and Joe's little...
Have they had a tete-a-tete? I've missed this completely.
I think they've had a little bit of a grumble at each other. Basically, Joe went on to the Just Joe show,
Right.
and said, they were talking about who the best team in the league is. Now, I will ask you the same question without going any further. Who is the best team in the league at this moment in time? Jay.
Sheffield United.
Why?
Because they would be ahead of us if they'd not had that points deduction. So by default, that makes them better than us.
Okay.
On form.
Gilly, same question.
We said right now, so I'm saying us. If you're saying up to this point of the season, I'm saying Sunderland because they're at top of the league.
Okay. So they're basically similar sort of conversation. But Joe was saying that we are the best team because we built, we have the best squad, we play the best styles, etc., etc. Lots of teams have to change the styles to play against us, etc. Joe said that obviously Sheffield United were the best team because they're the ones at the top of the league. Now I'm inclined to kind of agree with both. I'm not taking a side
You fence-sitting bastard.
I know
Sheffield
because
United
what he
top of the
does.
league. Sunderland are top of the league.
the only reason is because I agree with Joe. Yes, Sheffield United so far, points-wise, have been the best team in the league, even though I think they're not as good as us, and I think
Sunderland
that
are
will
top
be
of the league.
Sunderland are the top of the league. Fucking hell. Honestly, I don't have time myself in bloody knots on here sometimes. Sunderland are the best because they are at the top of the league from points, etc. But I think that will balance itself out in the next... Well, before Christmas, I think we'll start to see them dropping off a bit. However, I do believe on paper and performance-wise, etc., that we are the best team and that we have the best squad. And I still believe that we'll go up as champions.
That's two different things, though. I think we're the best team.
No, I said, yeah.
But I'd hesitate to say we're the best squad because it's so paper thin. How many times have we had 3 children on the bench?
All right, so say, yeah, all right. Injuries aside then.
On paper, if you were living in a world where you were in Football Manager and you had it so that there were no injuries through the course of the season and nobody could get banned, no problem at all. our first 18 is better than anybody's at this level. My issue from the start has always been what's backing it up. There's not very much. I think on paper, when you're talking about ability to dominate games, ability to defend well and to have the right shape and to overcome opposition and so on, I find it very, very difficult to see any argument against us being the best team in the division. My issue does come down to the squad and what's backing it up when you've got issues with that first 18.
It's very subjective. It's a good topic to cover, really. Go on, Jay.
I'm just going to pull this comment from CB. We beat Sheffield United, and if not for a keeper gaff, we would have beat Sunderland too. I just want to say that we beat Leicester. It doesn't matter.
And
the individual head-to-head games against those teams don't matter in that context. It doesn't mean you're going to win the league because you beat them.
And I think that's why I was quite positive. Not positive, that's probably the wrong term, but I wasn't affected as much, by the loss to Sunderland. Or the draw, should I say, although it felt like
a loss, though, didn't it?
It felt like a loss.
It did, yeah.
That's why I want too downhearted, because obviously the games that we played at Ipswich and Leicester last season, in the end, didn't matter a fuck, really, did it? It didn't matter because, the teams that, we should have been beating down at the bottom of the league, which we didn't. The
teams we should have been beating this season, in that same context, are your Watfords, your QPRs, and we have done well against them. Portsmouth aside, first game of the season, and now off fuming, and we should have beat them. But Portsmouth aside, at the start of the season, the Burnley result isn't a freak. They're not a bad squad. Yes, all right, shit manager.
I don't like Parker.
And he's fucking Bladigan. But their squad is pretty much what they came down with. They're not a bad. They don't have a bad squad. So it's a difficult one. But if we get promoted, we'll get promoted on the strength of what we do against mid-table and lower table teams.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because each of the top are going to take points off each other throughout the course of the season. That's what happens.
Sunderland and Sheffield United
is grinding out those results, isn't it?
So, some people might call that a 6-pointer, etc. But that's quite an important game, Sheffield United versus Sunderland. And I will be watching. Bryn Johnson says, beat Sheffield United, then lose to Millwall means sod all. So, all I will say on that one is that, and I said it on a couple of shows last week, that, Sheffield United aren't a set of professional shithouses like Millwall are. And they just aren't. They changed their style completely to face us, and they bore the brunt of it, and they failed. We beat them quite substantially. Millwall
This is damning with faint praise, isn't it? That's why I initially liked this channel. You argue. Does that mean he doesn't like it anymore?
He used to like it. Now it's shit.
Yeah.
No, he likes a debate. Look, he likes a mass debate.
Just like you, Jay. But yeah, I think that when you look at them, in context and obviously completely separately, Millwall are a professional set of shithouses that will do whatever they can. They'll deploy the dark arts, etc. Sheffield United completely changed their formation, their style of play, based on how Saints played against us last year and failed, whereas Millwall didn't. And I dare say that it'll be a different game when they come up to Ellen Road, but the Den is notoriously a tough game for us to go, tough place for us to go. As is most
and it is
London
for anybody.
places.
Of
course it is.
They want a freak result against us. They've been very, very difficult to beat this season.
Well, you two are saying that. My feelings are we should have beat Millwall. We should have gone there and got something out of it. It is a tough place to go, but you have to be able to beat teams like that if you're going to win a league.
But they had a good team, though. They're not a shit team, though.
No, they're not. They're not
what I'm saying. Like Burnley did exactly the same. Burnley are a good team as well, and they knew exactly how to contain us. End of the day, we struggle against the shit teams. When they get the low block. I don't want to say these buzzwords, but we struggle. Now you look at Burnley, and they're a good team. They're an ex-Premier League team. They've got good players. Very, very capable of keeping us out and shithousing the win. It was a mistake from Solomon that got them the goal. Mistakes happen. You're not going to win every single game. We're not going to be the Invincibles of the Championship.
We are everybody's cup final. Norwich played very well against us, and they're 15th or something. They haven't won in 6.
Yeah.
You look at
played
QPR,
well against Hull.
the graph. If you look at the actual the graph that I showed you the other week on actually with Danny's Not Another Leeds podcast.
I think it's still in the brand.
Is it still in the brand when you look at how teams are performing?
This
Some are underperforming.
thing.
Yeah, so look at QPR. They're massively underperforming, just like we are.
Mm.
You know, obviously we've got more points, etc. But you know, you look at that and you think QPR shouldn't be where they are.
No, Gilly's feasting his eyes here. He loves all like this.
He loves like this shit. Have you not seen this, Gilly?
I haven't. No, I like it.
Oh, bloody hell, look at that. Oh, I can see him getting right excited. Oh, that's a nice graph, is that? That's a lovely graph, is that?
Is that saying that Plymouth are overperforming even though they're as bad as they are?
Even though they're really, really shit, yeah.
It is, yeah.
It's bad, isn't it?
But if you look at Sheffield United and Sunderland...
That means Rooney's getting a tune out of them.
Yeah, and Burnley, actually. And Watford. So, you know, like I said, but we're not stat nonsense and we're not going to go too much into that.
We don't get too technical here.
We don't like to get too testicle, do we?
We don't. Not when they're as dry as they are.
Wow.
That's nostalgia.
Enough of your smut. I'm just going to fly through these starred comments before we close out for this evening. We've already seen that Joe Bedford, I'm waiting for a pretty little bow in Jay's beard.
It's coming. It's coming.
You're going to hang some Christmas baubles from that thing.
I might do. We might go full
you
Billy
should do.
Connolly and do it purple.
I've got some lights. Beard lights.
God. Once again, OKB demonstrates their unflinching dedication to quality production. Absolutely.
Roland knows that we can't organise a podcast, but we can organise a piss up.
That's right. Everyone wants to come on an OKB
He knows
piss up.
that.
We got him Stevie, didn't we?
They're world famous.
Was that Render's birthday?
Yeah.
John Redmond, Gilly, nail on the head. I love people who start these comments with no context whatsoever.
You never start that.
It's an absolute classic, Jay. Oh, has he started it?
Oi!
Sorry. I apologise.
There's no respect.
The little yellow helmet over there. Oh, look,
He loves
talking
a bit of
about
credit,
me.
a bit of praise, doesn't he?
Bryn Johnson says, Aronson presses well, but he's so unaware on the ball, never looks up or releases ball quick enough. Could have put Joseph in 2 to 3 times. True. Yeah. That's one of his weak parts, you know. It is one of his weaknesses. And hopefully, he may be playing second fiddle to our new number 10 in the next transfer window. Who knows? Steve Brown, however, starts up... whoever, I think that's supposed to say. Whoever starts up front hasn't looked great. The quality of our crosses are terrible.
True that.
Firpo aside.
Yeah, Dan James has usually got an eye for a decent cross as well, but against Millwall, they were all shite, weren't they?
Yeah.
They were all pretty naff. Bryn Johnson again, he loves this podcast. I'm going to get him an OKB number 1 fan t-shirt made for him. I am going to do it. He says, pink chicken and chips from Peacock or them loaded fries, what's worse?
I asked for some loaded fries and all I got was fries, and it took them forever to find them because all I could find were loaded fries. So he clearly had not heard what I'd asked for. So I've not even tried the loaded fries yet, but they look all right.
Just a load of fries rather than loaded fries. Got 5 portions, mate.
For £22, you're just like, oh, fuck it, I ain't got time. Pay it.
Skip says, would you say promotion this season is a must in context of players who would leave and our finances?
100%.
Yes.
Absolutely, I think it's...
was that a Bryn impression?
Yes. It was, wasn't it?
Pretty much,
terrible.
Yeah. Do you reckon he knows he does that? You know, like Gazza's got that awful apnea noise that he doesn't know that he does, and he goes on his mic. do we think that Bryn knows? He goes, yes.
I think he knows, yeah.
Terrible. Herbert says, I'm waiting for an undiscovered tribe to emerge from Jay's beard.
It's in there.
Tribe, possibly not. Bacterial infection, quite possibly.
How dare you? Maybe a rare strain of
come out of the jungle.
A rare strain of
I don't know. I dread to think how much chicken fecal matter will be nestling slightly in that beard of his.
I think he's gone grey.
You killed them all, didn't you?
Yeah,
Jay killed all his chickens. Richard Woodthorpe says, Jared argued with Joe over the 10 excuses that people using to say that Leeds were not top, i.e. international breaks, 3 games, etc. Joe said everyone has to cope with the same things.
I mean, if that's the case, I agree with... hang on a minute. Jared argued with Joe. Joe said everybody has to cope with it. Well, yeah, but whatever that is, everybody does have to cope with the same things, except those that don't have the quality of player that we have that aren't going away for international breaks and whatever else. But that means that their players aren't as good.
And those that don't get suspensions announced on the morning of a game.
That as well. And the fact that other teams do tend to change the tactics and whole formations. But then again, a lot of teams do that as well. So, like I say, hey, we just like to have a pint and talk bollocks. We're not going to get that. We're not going to get that far. And of course, Mr. Roland Buttonup says, yes, Jay Huckabee does have its priorities.
What I'm doing here?
Absolutely.
It's sponsored by Star of Ramen this evening. If anybody wants to get in touch with the creator, out.
Some of is it the Czech Republic? Is it Czech or is it Slovakian? It's Czech, innit?
No, it's from Burton-on-Trent.
It's what?
Hey.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, it's Prague and it's Czech Republic. Or Czechia, as it is now.
It's not owned by bloody Carlin, is it?
Czechia, bad self.
EU food business operator MCBC Ireland.
Fuck knows then. Carlin and Burton-on-Trent, though.
Gilly,
Anyway.
I'm gonna come and ask you because I can't find anything. Do we have any Andy's Man Club stuff?
We do indeed. So if I just say that I'm going to read that out in a very short space of time, I will be ready right now. So it is the 12th tonight, so 15th, this Friday coming, is Pool Night in Northern Snooker Centre on Kirksall Road. Wednesday the 20th of November is the Couch to 5K with Recovery Runners. That's at Woodhouse. On Saturday the 23rd is the Men Walk This Way mixed charity event at Roundy Park. Wednesday the 27th is another Couch to 5K with Recovery Runners, and there is a walk and talk on the 1st of December. Location still TBC. Unfortunately, barber clubs had to be postponed until the new year. But see on their socials for meetup locations, they are available and open for their regular drop-ins every Monday evening.
Absolutely, lads. Get talking, don't suffer in silence.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Go have a mooch and a brew, or go and just have a sit down and listen to some of the guys. You know, you're not alone out there, chaps. And if you're weathering a storm, etc., then get down to one of these. Get one down. Well, like I say, every Monday night there's a club somewhere. Just check out their socials and go to your nearest one.
Do it.
You are not alone, chaps, and ladies as well, of course. Thank you, gentlemen. Tonight it's been a bit of a random one. It's not great when we got an international break, etc. We ain't got a game to cover for the next weekend, but you know we like to. I don't think we do too bad, do we?
You've steered the ship, all right. You've done better than that bloke on Titanic.
Don't know how to take that really.
We're going to mention David Coop before we go.
I don't see what it's like. I don't see what he said wrong.
I can't believe that he's going to possibly lose his job.
I thought
they are investigating him. Genuine, right? What? Okay, the guy's off his chump, and somebody's thrown him under the bus by releasing it. He's completely off. Call the cops because I'm off my chops. But what he said actually is accurate because I nearly said it intentionally. It didn't nearly slip out, but Klopp is what he said he is. He treats refs like shit. He thinks he's the main figure of anything. He wanted to sell English and actually European football into the ESL. He was behind all of that until he saw the vitriol that came out of that from the fans. Yes. He's an absolute fucking prick.
And he got said teeth.
And all of that. And he's always been that way. It's not that he was in a pressure job or anything like that. That is him. He is that person. So fuck him. I think Coop was absolutely right. And I think there should be a movement for... Now, I think he's a shit ref, but I don't think he's any worse than the rest of them. So when you boil it right down... And ultimately, although... And I'm not going to spend too long talking about Liverpool fans, but ultimately, he refed 8 of their games and they lost 2 of them. But they're blaming him for missing out on multiple titles. I'm not having any of that. I am not having any of that at all. And the Gadge that is in that video with him, if he's the one that's released it, well, he's been doxxed already, so he's going to be getting some hassle potentially. And we're not advocating for that, by the way.
He's a shithouse for doing that to him.
He is a shithouse, but we're not advocating doxing people. We're not advocating have a go at them.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
But it's likely that it's going to happen.
Yes. He's a shithouse for that.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that what the guy, Mr. Coot, has said isn't necessarily inaccurate. However, probably maybe slightly distasteful.
He'll
And
advise.
he'll lose, and he'll advise, and he'll lose his job. But, oh well, shit happens. It's not my job. I'm not a ref. Fuck him. Thank you everyone else for joining us in the comments this evening. Like I say, it's been dragged out a little bit. Yes, apologies for being a little smidge bit late, but we got there in the end. We've no game, have we? So we won't see you till next week. We've got a bit of time off, lads.
We have. Everyone will be happy.
Yeah. If you haven't done, please subscribe to the show and share it amongst you. Oh,
No. Richard Hogan, Gilly, when we go up in 6 games and we have to sack Farker, who comes in on the Red Bulls, Mr. Football. That is Jurgen Klopp. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not getting him started. I'm not getting him started on this. Thank you for joining us. If you haven't done, subscribe. Cheers. See you in a bit.